All right, I'm up here for Andy and Michelle. They got a really nice property here, a new barn down there, a nice asphalt and concrete driveway here. They have 4 kids. 2 of them are driving and 2 of them will probably be driving soon. And they've lived here for about 20 years. They have some nice finish features at their property. Here's a downspout coming out here and then coming down here, I should say. And then it goes this way. It looks to me like this concrete driveway is basically level, almost cheating to the right just a little bit. We have what looks to be like some groundwater seeping right here. Kind of crosses the driveway through that crack right there and goes along there. The driveway is contoured to go out through that drainage line there. And it is old and it's starting to degrade a little bit. So just an intelligent drainage plan through here is called for. We could do a trench along here, French drain perhaps, and then we need to cross the driveway somehow, so we could go underground and across. Right now it looks like it's just spilling across the top. I would recommend taking this water underground in an open pipe all the way to the other side there. So they have considered expanding this concrete area and creating a little more parking, taking it out over this way just a little bit. I mentioned the idea of doing some radiant heat in here because this degradation of the concrete that you can see starting to chip and crack is, I'm gonna say, as a result, this is the north face. As a result of ice and freeze-thaw cycles, the water gets into the little micropores of the concrete and then freezes and chips it and flakes it up. And just over the years, she would like it if this would look a little nicer. As you can see, the rest of the house and the rest of the property is really nice. They were gonna put this garage up here on a little bit further up here, and they determined to put it down there, but this all got disturbed in the process, and so they brought in a whole bunch of topsoil. And it looks like they probably brought in some seed and straw perhaps, but or maybe some wood chips is kind of what I'm seeing here, some wood chips that went over the top here. But this is getting eroded. We got little ruts and rivulets running down this and taking the topsoil away. Then this is the new garage that got built, and this is we have groundwater seep coming in here and causing some drainage issues down in. So I'm down at the garage now. They got a big 3-bay garage here, and they got a garage on the far side as well, or a garage door I should say, on the far side, but no road to come in and out, so it's not helping much. And so right here we have some groundwater seeping out, and this is all really level across the front of the garage, and you can see what's happening. We got groundwater seeping out of the hillside and it's pooling right here along this side, so this all needs a bit of grading. And this is some rock right here that needs to be cut back, chipped out, ripped out to create some more room. And Michelle mentioned the idea that they had talked about a retaining wall right here, which would work fine, which could then fade into nothing right at the end of the rock cut there and then blend into the hillside. This could all be drained with a combination of some surface grading just to make sure that we have flow out. But because this is groundwater, I would recommend putting a catchment basin basically right in this corner and then having an open pipe that takes the groundwater out to the hillside at the far edge of the slab there. Depending on where this groundwater is coming from, the source, if it's coming from further down, then we would need to also be capturing it there and taking it out to the far corner of that garage. But if we could bring it all this way into our catchment basin that would be in here and then drain it out along there, that could be a good solution to basically just capture all this water at the source, as close to the source as we can, and move it off and away from the building as quickly as possible. Then we'll look over here. So they started this road here Due to budgetary constraints, they didn't finish building it up all the way. What I would like to see in here is potentially starting to build up this road here across the meadow with some rock. This rubble here would actually make good fill. So if we can rip that hillside back and generate some more rock, we could use that rock in here to build up some road, because this is being an open meadow like this, you're gonna have shallow groundwater in here. We can see we got some little bit of groundwater right on the surface right there. So in order to create some stabilization, we would rip out all this grass in the track where we were wanting to run our road, and put down some heavy duty fabric, and then building it up with rock and gradually finer and finer material as we build up with a layer cake. So then this whole slope here would want to be stabilized with some more of this treatment, what we have here at the bottom, which looks like some topsoil. So we would want to cover all of this rubble with topsoil, then run some straw blankets over that, and then seed and water in order to get the grass and the vegetation to establish itself. This road here is meant to come around here, turn to the right as a switchback, and then go into that garage door up there. And you can see that the fill is starting to pull away from the slab there. So that's a primary motivation for getting some more fill in here. That whole corner should be built out with probably 5 tandems worth of rock, in my opinion. And then up at the top, we would add some squeegee to go and flow into the gap up there. And then the whole thing gets capped with topsoil. So as you can see, this could be, oh, I forgot one last thing. So just walking here on the route that we would take with motor vehicles to access the garage door up here in the back. And they started building this out with this bit of fill down here at the bottom, but obviously haven't finished yet. And so there's a nice big garage door there that we would want to connect going this way, down, around, and out over there. So finally, they do want to have some kind of access between this garage, this slab, and their house up there. So Michelle talked to me about possibly concrete steps coming all the way down here. We could also route up through this way, or some combination of going up this way through these trees and then up that way. And that would be I like that as a nice steady pitch without adding too much length to the route. We could have a more direct route this way if we wanted, with steps, a couple of landings and a couple of steps, landing, steps, landing, and that would be concrete work. And then, so imagine this whole hillside as a grassy hillside here, similar to what's down below on the other side of the garage. And because we have so much water landing on the driveway as well as the house, we could essentially direct all of that water onto this hillside, and we could cut or contour some basins in this hillside that would be fertile growing zones, add some wood chips and some organic material that would absorb moisture, hold the water, and basically we could meander the water down this hillside and then make sure that we go around the garage for the larger events. But 90% of all the water will be absorbing here and will actually be filtering through and adding to the groundwater table most likely. So we'll have more groundwater and spring seepage that would result by focusing all of our stormwater onto this hillside, where we would have some really lush vegetation that could look really nice and work really well with a concrete staircase that runs up. I told the customers that if they wanted to do something, we would do a larger plan and invest some time and some money into getting a really solid plan together before we jumped in and just started doing things piecemeal. And then that way, if they need to take a number of years to get some of these things done, or if they need to save up and get their financing in place to do a larger project, then they could do that. So with all those things, you know, I don't think it's too outside of the realm of possibility to be thinking about something around $100,000 budget, given the driveway, the staircase, the drainage, the roadway, maybe even more, maybe even closer to 150. So then obviously I do encourage the homeowners to consider investing in a master plan for their grading and drainage and hardscape plan, that then if they didn't want to invest in the whole large project over right off the bat, they could take, you know, several years, work with their neighbor who's done some earthwork for them. He's retired, but he has some equipment and he's helped them do some of this site work. So I think that having a master plan is a really the best next step for them, and to go ahead and invest some money in putting a really solid and comprehensive plan together for their overall site, because they have a beautiful property, as we've seen, and they could really do a lot with it. They also have a graduation party coming up, and they want to have their deck rebuilt. So it sounds like they're not totally decided on that, and they also don't have a plan on that, but they're interested and willing to invest in having a plan done for that. And also they really want to find good contractors who are going to answer the phone and get back to them and help them maintain and improve their property. So that's that. This is the deck that they're looking to have rebuilt, just for photographic reference.